Okay, people, book club. A is for Alibi by Sue Grafton. That's this week's book club, or this month's book club, March. Although, yeah, we're last day of March. So A is for Alibi, Sue Grafton. Kirsten and Cathy and I read the book. We discuss. It's a short discussion. Not a whole lot to say about the book. It was fine. Enjoyable read. You'll see. Listen to the episode and you'll get our thoughts and feelings on A is for Alibi. And then after that, we finally have the talk about the Girl Scout meeting that I wanted to talk about forever. So women's health badge that we worked on. And it was such an amazing experience with these young ladies that I really wanted to share it on this podcast for maybe other Girl Scout troop leaders, but also for parents of young women. Because we did so many, I think, positive things. Not to toot my own horn. Sounds very much like I'm bragging, but I'm just super proud of how we approached talking to these teenagers about health and women's health specifically. So I've been dying to have this discussion with these ladies, and finally we just did it. So it's a double whammy episode. It's book club and Girl Scouts a little bit, but really not Girl Scouts. It's really about women's health and teaching these teenagers about women's health. So I hope you enjoy the podcast. I love when Cathy and Kirsten are on. It's just always such an easy, fun, relaxed conversation. So next book club is a historical fiction called The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. This won the 2020 Pulitzer Prize. And I am looking forward to reading it. It's a short read. The audiobook says it's 6 hours. So if you want to read along with us, please do. The Nickel Boys. I'm looking forward to that too, and looking forward to hearing what the ladies have to say about it, and looking forward to hearing what you have to say about it. And thank you for all your emails. Thank you for your book club suggestions. We go through some of those today. I think we're kind of coming to the end of the line for our genre-focused book clubs, and we're just going to kind of go back into book clubbing really soon. So keep those suggestions coming. I do save them in a folder, and we discuss a couple of them today. So and thank you for all the positive comments. You know, my favorite comments are when someone emails me and says, I love your podcast because I feel like I'm in the room with you and that your friends are my friends. That was my whole mission statement when I started this podcast. That's exactly what I wanted. So that makes me so happy when I hear someone say that. I have great friends, and I do think we have good conversations, and I'm glad that you're entertained or you learn something and that you keep coming back. So thank you very much. I really enjoy my podcast. So thank you for being so supportive. Anyway, enjoy this month's book club / Girl Scout Women's Health Badge talk with Cathy and Kirsten. I'm going to clear something up really quick that has nothing to do with you. Sound good, Halston? Okay. So Bert posted this post on Instagram yesterday about him being at the Greek. And Mark Normand, who is another comic, calls me a whore. And then he calls me a skank. And I think it is so freaking funny because it is ridiculous. Yeah. But apparently people are really mad about it. And I just want to say, I think it's hysterical because of the two words I would never use to describe me are whore or skank. Yeah. So it's just ridiculous.
Nor would anyone else, really.
Nor would even Mark Normand.
Anyone,
ever.
Right.
Ever.
Mark Normand is a friend. I adore him. I think he's hysterical. And they actually called me and asked me if they could do that before they even recorded it. And when he told me the concept, I was like, that is fucking hysterical.
It's funny because it's not true. Like, that's what makes it
Yeah,
funny.
exactly.
It's so
Exactly.
absurd.
Yeah.
Like,
People, and so Bert posted the text message that I sent him saying that's fucking hysterical. And only Mark Normand could call me that. He's the only person allowed, whatever. But just so everybody knows, that was vetted before it was ever recorded. And yes, I said yes because I thought it was really funny. Because in all honesty, I think we have to have a sense of humor about ourselves to be happy as a person. You have to have a little sense of humor.
Or even just a sense of humor. Because it's not even really about you.
No,
it's not at all.
It's the
right?
stupidest.
So,
It's not about me at all. And it was. I mean,
you're
when
the
they
venue
told
for
me
the joke. Like,
exactly,
yeah.
they're trying to sell tickets to a show that they're both at. I'm all for that. Call me a skank all day long. We actually might
Skank.
make a T-shirt that says Leanne is a skank. How great is that? I think I'd wear it myself. I when Bert said, let's make a T-shirt that says Leanne is a skank, I went online and I was like, let's make the tank tops that have like the fringe.
Oh no, I was not going to go to the fringe, but I was like, it's got to be the tank top.
Yeah,
It's got to be.
Yeah. And the men's version, muscle shirt. Muscle shirt for men, tank top with the fringe around the waist for women. And I said that back to Bertie and he was like, fucking brilliant. Please make that T-shirt. So
That's funny.
wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah.
I would wear a Leanne as a skank. Skank is such a good word.
It's so ridiculous. I know, it's such a funny word. It just makes me, every time I hear skank, I think skunk. And a skunk is a funny, it's just funny.
It's a funny.
funny.
When was
It's a
the
funny
last
word.
time you used the word skank like in just general
In
talk?
conversation.
Yeah.
Never.
I don't-
Not never, but
I don't think I've ever used it. I think I've like,
Oh, I used it for sure in high school.
yeah, but like high school,
Yeah.
college,
High school,
maybe,
middle school, yeah.
Like, I don't
So-
know. It's been a long time since anyone's used that word.
Well, I think Mark came up with that word all on his own. So what does that say about Mark Norman? The word he used for me was skank, which we have now determined is a high school word. Good call, Mark. Good call. Upping your sophistication. Anyway, I thought that was really funny. I thought it was really fun. And I would love a Leanne as a skank t-shirt. so stay tuned, right? Would you wear a Leanne as a skank t-shirt?
Sure.
Yeah, right?
why not?
Why not? Book club.
Oh, that's funny.
I want to talk to you guys about not book club, but we're all too busy. We're so busy that I can only get you once a month. So, I mean, do we schedule 2 back-to-back recordings so we can talk about something other than a book?
Or we just do what we've done in the past: read a really shitty book and be like, have nothing to talk about and move on.
Right? We could do that, but I'm unfulfilled. I'm unfulfilled because we still have to talk about that Girl Scout meeting that was so amazing. And I think that deserves its own conversation.
I feel like at this point, the build up to that Girl Scout meeting, people are going to expect that like something extremely dramatic happened. And now it's like, oh, okay.
That's it?
That's it. Yeah.
No, I think it's pretty good still. I do. I think it's pretty good. I think the 3 of us can make it really good.
Okay. But listeners, like, tone down your expectations.
Speaking of Girl Scouts, I have my dad and my Aunt Carol have
I
been
saw that.
background
Yes.
checked.
Yeah.
So it cost $6.25.
Sweet.
I said I would reimburse them, and they said no worries. But my cousin Stephanie has gotten wind,
Oh God.
and so
We have an Alabama troop now.
we might have an Alabama troop.
Wait a
So
minute, do they want to do badge work? Or like,
right? She might be up for teaching crochet. She also
Awesome.
has a ton of arts and crafts she's up to teaching. And my Aunt Carol now teaches a class, I guess, locally somewhere on natural dyes.
Oh, that's fun.
awesome.
So she
We're gonna have
my
to
God.
stay in.
what? I know, right? So no water activity. We're only doing arts and crafts.
Is she willing to run these workshops for the adults?
Yes, yes. So I'm supposed to call her after this and talk about a natural dye lesson that she may be doing.
That's awesome. All my sewing friends are into natural dyeing.
Are they?
Yeah.
I
I'm
don't
like the only
even-
one who hasn't. Yeah.
I was like, your hair? Natural dye your hair? What are you talking about? I know it's fabric, but yeah. So I think maybe I may have to register the entire city of Bowden, Georgia, as volunteers. So I said to Stephanie, if you're going to come down, I have to do a background check. I have to register you with Girl Scouts, and then my dad's wife. I think I'm just going to go ahead and register her anyway. She's not. She is cooking at a Sunday school camp that week. So she's pretty sure she won't come down. But I was like, let's just get you
Just in case
registered
for $6.
for $6. I think we can swing it.
Yeah.
But that portion is done. I still have not heard back from our application.
I was wondering about that.
I haven't heard. So it's on my list today. I had a good conversation with a woman. Not that anybody here wants to hear this. We're having a Girl Scout meeting, a leader meeting now
Yes.
on the mic.
Next, we're going to talk about badge work.
Yeah, exactly. That is so thrilling. But I could never get them registered on my own. I had to have a woman do it for me, like behind the scenes. And I have a good rapport with her. So I think I'm going to call her and ask her
That's
where's
smart.
our application. And what what else can we talk about for Girl Scouts? Anyway, my 4 older Girl Scouts had a dinner party. They got their dinner party badge, and I gave them all their cords for graduating. They were so excited. It was adorable. I gave them all their green and white Girl Scout cords, and they were just beyond themselves. It was really cool.
It is very cool.
It was very cool. We have a lot of dorks.
Maybe starting right here.
Maybe starting right here. Good
Top
point.
down.
Good point. Top down.
Top
maybe
down,
true.
exactly.
I don't know. I love this whole thing as much as it is annoying and aggravating, and some of the shit we have to deal with behind the scenes really sucks. And it's hard. And I mean, it's really fulfilling. Do you feel the same?
Yeah. I mean,
Obviously.
we're still here 11 years later. Right? You know?
Yeah.
Can't believe it. I know the lady that was helping me, I said, you know, my aunt was a Girl Scout leader when her kids were young, and now I'm registering her. And she was like, that's so great. It's so nice to hear people so dedicated. And I went, well, I've been doing it 10 years. And she goes, you have? I said, yes, my co-leader and I have been 10 years. And I think our other leader's like 8 now.
Yeah.
She was like, that's like unheard of. That's amazing. I was like, yeah, tell me about it.
We had no idea.
We did have an idea.
No.
Yes, we did.
I did not think that we would go from kindergarten through like graduating high school.
Oh, I did.
Oh, I did not.
Oh, I totally did.
I 100% did not.
I did. I thought,
Not back then.
no.
No. Not when we
Yeah,
started.
in my mind, Girl Scouts was like an elementary school thing. And
I knew that it would be beyond that. But if we made it through middle, like once we got to middle school, I was like, oh, okay, this is it. We're in for the long haul. But before that, no way.
That's so funny
did
because
not
I
think
did. I thought that what we created was important to the girls and that they would stick around. Some of them, not all of them.
Well, yeah.
That's
yeah,
all-
I think I didn't have that sense until like a few years in though.
Agreed.
Yeah, in the beginning, it was just like doing crafts with little kids after school, like eating
Yeah.
a snack and doing crafts.
Getting
and,
them across the street without dying.
literally.
Like really,
right.
like there were
Right.
certain
Seriously.
benchmarks we had to make.
Yeah, the
That
walk
was it.
just
Right.
across the street
Yeah.
took so long.
Yeah.
And the snacks and the cleaning up of the snacks and whatever. It was like that's what took up most of the meetings. So I didn't have any concept. I wasn't like thinking, oh, I'm out of here in a couple of years. It wasn't
No.
like that. It was
Right.
just like, oh, okay, this is just something that little kids are doing. And
That's funny. Maybe I didn't think about it as a long haul per se,
Yeah.
but I never thought about it like has an end, like a shelf life. This will run through a certain.
Yeah,
I thought
agreed.
it
I didn't
would
really
run-
think
Sure,
that either.
Yeah.
But I also didn't think that it would go on forever. Ish.
ish. Well, by the time we're done, we'll be like 14 years. It's gonna be awful. Not awful, but awful.
Yeah.
But anyway,
We didn't think that part through.
No, we didn't think we needed to think that far. Good old Sandy.
Yep.
Anyway,
all
book
right.
club.
Book club.
A is for Alibi. What'd you think?
Did you reread it?
I
Not to put you on
re-listened
the
to it,
spot,
and
but-
that is a totally different experience. So I read it initially, and this was a couple of years ago now, I guess. Because I finished it up. I was in the end of the alphabet at the beginning of the pandemic.
Mm.
So yes, I did listen to it this time, an entirely different experience, which I do not recommend.
Interesting.
Yeah, I listened to it because I just didn't have time. I sat down and I did read some of it. I tried to, this is what I do with an audiobook. I tried to read the first couple chapters myself so that I can't keep people straight if I start. I can't keep characters straight if I just start an audiobook and stay there. So like that was true with Wuthering Heights. It was true like Wuthering Heights. I started the audiobook like 4 times. And then I went, you know what? I want to read this book. So I'm going to sit down and read it. And I got like 4 chapters in, got too busy, went back to the audiobook, and I could keep everybody straight. So I thought maybe that's just how my brain works. I need to start a book and then I can finish it with audio. So that's what I did with this book. But I didn't like either one. I was reading the book going, okay. It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
But the audiobook definitely didn't help.
The audiobook did not help.
No.
100%. It was the audiobook. Well, first of all, I looked it up, and I think the audiobook was recorded in like 1992 or 1993. Completely different style from how audiobooks
totally.
are recorded now. So it was very,
Huh.
I would have guessed that it was more like 1982 because
Well, that's when the book was published.
yes, but it was very formal, and Kinsey is not a formal character.
No.
In fact, like in the series, like she literally has one dress that she trots out anytime she needs a dress occasion. But I mean, she's not a formal character, and the voice was such a like proper. Her speech was so proper, and the way that it was recorded was, I don't know, it was just very, very formal, and it just completely, it was not at all.
I didn't think it was formal. I thought it was like this. Dark alley, Sunday, 1982. Kinsey walks across the fence, and then she does this and sees that because she's a detective.
Did we
And
listen
I
to
was
the same
like,
version?
what? It was a woman, and she was
Yeah.
definitely older sounding than Kinsey. Like the Kinsey I made up in my head
Uh-huh.
was more casual than the woman that read. But I felt like I was listening to Orson Welles in a woman's body. Like reading, it felt like
Yeah,
detective story, night, I was like, wow.
I think
okay.
we listened to a different audio version,
Maybe.
because mine was not like that at all, but it was definitely formal and out of date, and
Yeah,
not-
mine too.
yeah.
But still, because I started the book, I am better able to separate that.
Yeah.
And I still was like, I don't know. It didn't do it for
Yeah.
me. I kept going, oh, this is a little too contrived, or this is a little too easy. This one's a little too hard. Now you're just trying to throw me off.
Yeah.
I understand what's happening here. I don't know that I kept doing that with the story.
Yeah.
I tried to separate the voice and the detective voice from what was happening and keep Kinsey in my brain the way I started her, which was like lighter and younger and like tomboyish sloppy.
Yes.
Mhm.
That's what I saw her as, very tomboyish sloppy. And the lady who read it sounded to me like she was wearing like a pantsuit.
Totally.
And I was like, I
Yes.
don't think she's supposed to be wearing a pantsuit.
Yes, with a full face of makeup.
Yeah,
Lipstick
exactly.
done.
That's what it sounded
Yeah.
like. Sybil Shepherd was playing Kinsey, from Moonlighting, where she was like that, and then but that's not
Yeah.
what I started in my imagination. So
Okay, I'm dying to hear what Kathy thinks,
Me
because
too.
I have a lot of feelings based on first reading versus reading it
yeah,
years later, and like having read the entire series.
Mhm.
I have a lot of feelings.
Well, I did not listen to the audiobook. I actually powered through this book in a day because I may or may not have forgotten that we were doing this today. I'm not gonna lie. I was actually reading several other books, and I was like, "Oh, I'll get to it." And then all of a sudden, it was Tuesday, and I was like, "Oh shit!" So
We've
I
all done it at this point in the
literally
book club.
sat
We've all
down
done it.
and read the book from start to finish on Tuesday.
Wow.
So
That's impressive.
clearly it's not a hard book to read.
No.
It's very easy. I may have, I don't know, like there were parts of it at the end where I was like, okay, this is just like, I may have gone too fast, but parts of it were annoying me. But I didn't mind it. Like it was exactly what I anticipated. It was a pretty easy detective read, like all of the other detective reads, like relatively mindless. It wasn't super, I wasn't surprised by anything. Like I almost felt like they gave too much away. Like you knew exactly who was going to be at the end. I was like, I wish you wouldn't have done that,
Mhm.
But yeah, I didn't mind it. I didn't have any bad reaction to it. So
Well, let me rephrase what I said then. Let me restate it. I actually enjoyed it, but I enjoyed it kind of the same way. It's like a beach read.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally.
Where
absolutely.
They're
nothing
all
deep
beach reads.
happening.
Yes. Yeah,
Nothing. It wasn't thought provoking.
right.
It was very predictable to me because I knew who did it. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, it's this guy.
Yeah.
Yes. So-
Totally this guy.
Yeah, my feedback on that is that they get better as they go on in terms
Right.
of, because I mean, it was like, seriously, and also she's getting involved with a potential
Yeah.
suspect. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen again. That was like, that was a rookie.
That was her first out of the gate.
Yeah.
First out of the gate.
Exactly. First out of the gate. So yeah, rereading it or listening to it, I was like, oh, well, this book doesn't represent what I love about the series. This is the sort of book, this is also the way my brain works. And this is why I was like, please don't set your expectations too high for our big Girl Scout talk, because it's not that great. Like, I'm so affected by expectations. If you tell me this is an Academy Award winning movie, I loved it. Oh my God, it changed my life. I loved it. I'm like, I do not want to watch this movie now, because I'm set up for if it's not the best thing I've ever seen in my life, I'm going to feel disappointed. How can I not when you're like, it changed my life and it won all the awards? And then I'm going to feel stupid for not getting why it won the awards, or I'm going to feel crotchety or like contrarian for like, you know, not liking what my friend likes or whatever. And then the opposite sometimes happens, where you're like, you hear this movie's crap, but you're in a hotel room. It's the only thing playing. And you're like, oh, that was fun. You know? So that being said, I got this book from a little free library while I was visiting my parents several summers ago, and was like, oh, how retro. And I think it was an original. Like it was a very retro copy. And so I was just like, oh, how fun. I like murder mysteries. I'm going to read this. So all of that is to say, I was very pleasantly surprised. When I read it, I was set up for like, okay, I didn't pay anything for the book. Yeah. I've never heard anything of it other than it was like, you know, Sue Grafton, like in the same way that you see like a
Danielle Steele,
James Patterson or whatever. And you're like, oh God, how can he be good when there's...
Well, I feel the same way, because I read pretty much all of those books like years ago and I loved them. But like going back now, I'd be like, yeah, it's the same. It's almost the exact same thing where like, it's fun. You like the detective, the character, the cop, the whatever. And that's it. Yes. Like there's nothing super amazing about it, but like it's a fun read.
But the thing is, so it's the first time that I ever read the entire series. So all 25 of the books. And it was so satisfying because it's the same, for the most part, the same characters. There are other characters sprinkled in, like not the case. The case is different each time. So all of those, you know, antagonists and the people that she's interviewing are different. But Henry, her landlord, is in it, and it develops their relationship. And they're just, you know, some minor characters like Vera, who pops up. I think she's mentioned by name, but I don't even think they have a conversation in this one. But Vera pops up again and again, and you just start to get to know the characters and really like them in the way that is very much like the experience of watching a beloved TV show, when you're just like, doesn't really matter what the plot is of this one. I'm just going to watch it because I want to spend time with these people. Right. And that's what the experience was. It's like an unchallenging, exactly like watching a TV show. It's an unchallenging thing. Yeah. I get to just sit back, relax, turn off my brain, and this is going to be fun, and hang out with people that I like, characters that I like. So all of that is to say, going back to reread it or re-listen to, I was like, oh, this was not her best work.
That's hysterical. Yeah. This was not her best work. Well, I enjoyed listening. You know, I listened to it most of the time, like while doing laundry or driving, and I never dropped out of it. So I never like stopped listening. I never became disengaged. And there's so many books on audiobook where all of a sudden I go, oh, hold on. I have no idea what's happening. Now I got to go back and start over. And that never happened. So it is an engaging story. But yeah, I kept going, well, here's what's going to happen. And then that's what happened.
Yeah.
But I guess that's
the one thing that I actually had to go back. The only reason I know it was published in 82 is because I was like, wait, I don't understand. This book feels very dated for a minute because I think they were talking about like not having cell phones. And I was like, wait, when the hell did this happen?
Yeah. Using a payphone.
So it took, there was something like, I think it was something about the phones. I was like, whoa, wait a second. So like clearly she's written 1 million books since then. And I don't know, I felt like it was dated a little bit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, very much so. But I kind of like the datedness because now I think it's why a lot of movies are set like as a period piece now, because so many things would be just solved by Googling it, you know?
let me
You just
Google
whip out
him
your phone.
over. That's so funny.
Let me just call the police. Like, and so it is, there's a lot more tension built when you do not have a cell phone on
Right?
you. When you
We have
don't
a
know when you're
message
going to
with
get
a
to your next
random
one.
lady running the hotel, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, it was kind of
Yeah.
refreshing, that part.
Yes.
To go back in time a little bit and be not here where we are. I mean,
Yeah.
nothing wrong with where we are, but kids these days have no idea what it would take to do certain things, whereas now it is right in the palm of your hand.
Yeah. And how your business was like everybody's business, because if a guy called the house, like everybody knew, like everybody, it's like the phone rings and everybody's ears perk up. Like, is it for me?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Right?
So-and-so calling for so-and-so.
Hey, what's that about? You're
Right.
right. Well, it was just me at home, but I could visualize that. I could see that. Yeah. Everybody being like, who's that for? It was still fun. I had fun reading it. It was a fun read. I liked Kinsey. I could follow her for a couple more books. I don't know if I could do 20 something, but
Yeah, it's a lot. And there was one real dud. I can't remember if it was H is for homicide
Was it
or
letter-
K is for killer. It was one that sounded interesting. It was either H is for homicide or K is for killer, which sounds like, it sounds a little bit more interesting. It was not. It was about, one of them was about like car insurance fraud. And it was so, and usually like in this one, this is sort of very exemplary of the type of book where she has like one big case and then a smaller case that she's following. So there's like the A story and the B story, and then also maybe a potential romance or something going on with a friend or whatever. So there's always a few different stories popping around that she's juggling at the same time. And this one, I don't know. I posted about it on my Instagram. If anybody is really that interested, they can look up it was so boring and it only focused on this one car insurance fraud thing. And I was like, I'm not interested to begin with. So I'm looking for like the B story or the C story. Spoiler alert. There were. Yeah.
it's just straight fraud.
Straight fraud.
Just straight fraud.
I'm like, this should have been F is for fraud or B is for boring.
B is for boring. Oh my gosh.
Or
She
P
needed
is
to
for
get
pass.
like a part way through the alphabet before people gave up.
Totally.
Do you remember which one was your favorite?
I don't.
No.
I don't. I remember a plot line that was my favorite that happens later on. I don't know. Am I allowed to spoil it or do you want me to spoil it?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a spoiler, but much later in the series, whoever the antagonist was at the time, I don't even remember who it was, but burns down Kinsey's home. So she has like, she lives in a garage, basically, like a renovated garage. It's like a guest house. And her landlord is very dear to her. And he's this older man, much older man in his 80s, who's still very fit and spry and cool. And he's a real father figure to her. Anyway, her home gets burned down and Henry uses the insurance money to build her like the home of her dreams. Like, again, it's just a tiny little guest house, like, which she likes. That's the way she likes it. She has a small car. She always talks about her small car. She likes to be packed in with she has very few things. And he just, all of the details when she walks in the first time to see it, he's just left no stone unturned. All of the details are exactly what she would have wanted. And it's very emotional and very lovely.
Oh,
That was my favorite.
He was an adorable character.
Yeah.
For like the 3 seconds he was in the book, actually. Yeah.
He's the best. And she always says, I'm half in love with him. And spoiler alert, there's never any romance. So which is great. You don't want there to be, but it's.
Oh,
Oh,
shucks. Anything else we need to say about this book? This is a short book club book,
yeah.
See, now you get your wish.
right? So now, and scene. Let's start the Girl Scout. I'm kidding. This morning I woke up in a panic saying, I have no idea what we're reading next. Are we sticking with the genre idea? If so, what genre do we need to read? We had not discussed ahead of time. It completely slipped my mind.
Eek.
So I know eek is right. I have some suggestions from some listeners.
Great.
So let me see.
What's another genre we haven't read?
I don't know. I didn't have genre suggestions. I had
Oh,
book
okay.
club suggestions.
People have been throwing
Sci-fi.
suggestions at me too, and I cannot for the life of me remember a single one right now.
I wanted to recommend a dating book that I wish I had read as a young adult. Get the Guy is what it's called. I was like, okay, there's one. More book club ideas. I wanted to share the work of Barbara. Ooh, I'm going to murder her last name. Ehrenreich?
Ehrenreich?
Yes. She writes nonfiction about class culture in America. Really enjoyed reading her book, Fear of Falling. She says Fear of Falling, about the middle class that was written in the 80s, but is scarily still so relevant to understanding our social issues today. She had another book called Nickel and Dimed.
Oh, I read that years ago. Like,
that's about political divides, understanding the roots of social issues, the losses of the middle class since the 50s, and the American dream. Some fiction recommendations. Commonwealth by Ann Patchett.
Ann Patchett is amazing. I mean, it's going to be a good book.
There's something mesmerizing about this book and how it's written that sticks. I also enjoy the work of Australian Leanne Moriarty. That was her suggestion. Thank you, Kristen.
I've read all of Leanne Moriarty's, and
I've read a lot. Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, very reliably. Yeah, page turner.
That's one. Broken Open. These are my 3 favorite books that would be so good gory for all you to discuss. I think gory is a typo. Broken Open by Elizabeth Lesser, The Gift of Fear by Gavin de Becker, The Warmth of Other Suns by Isabel Wilkerson. She didn't really write a description for Susie. Thank you. There's a couple. Here's another one. Well, I've been decided to read. I just started Brave New World by Aldous Huxley.
Yeah, I read that last time in like 9th grade. I don't even remember what my thoughts were on it. It was so long ago. It's a classic that they
never heard
read
of it.
in school a lot. Yeah,
maybe in Canada they read it at school because this woman is from Canada.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
It's not Canadian.
Yeah, I think so. Or maybe not. Someone just said they were. Being from Canada. Yeah, so maybe they just read that in Canada. Any of those strike a bell, or is there a genre that we should look into, or?
I don't know. I'm flexible.
Yeah, I don't care.
I feel like we had a plan.
We did, but what happened to that
plan? I don't remember.
Well, we have done the plan. We've done horror. We've done romance. We've done a detective, like murder mystery. We just decided we'd kind of click off the genres. We did humor. The humorous book.
Yes,
we did
that
young
I didn't
adult.
find funny.
No, I didn't find it funny either. Did young adult category with Poison for Breakfast. So that's 5 genres we've done. We haven't done a genre of, I guess, a nonfiction, a biography, memoir, but we've done so many of those.
We've done a billion of them in the past.
Have we done a self-help genre in a while?
We've done a billion of them.
We've done a lot, but not really in that.
So then we can say we've already done memoir, we've already done self-help. Maybe not with the intention of exploring the genre, because we're not really exploring the genre. We're just exploring one book.
Yeah. The only other thing that pops in my head is sci-fi. Not that I necessarily want to read this, but that's sort of the only other genre that I'm thinking about.
I know.
Travel. Yeah. Is that a genre?
I don't know. Nonfiction travel, maybe?
I don't know. I'm trying to think like what other categories are in the bookstore, right? Like, I don't know.
Let's Google it.
Psychology. But that's, I don't know.
Genres of books. Oh, popped right up.
There you go.
Fiction, novel, narrative, genre fiction. 47 more. Nonfiction, children's literature, historical fiction, science fiction, mystery, romance novel.
Yeah, dystopian novels. That's
I don't even know what that means. Dystopia.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, I did not know that about you, Cathy.
What's wrong?
I said historical fiction is one of my favorites.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, we haven't read any historical fiction, have we? Long time ago. Autobiography, short story.
We haven't done an autobiography, I don't think, actually.
No. We've done short story. Picture book. Should we do picture book? Make it go real fast.
That's about my speed.
Picture book. Fable. A true crime. Urban fiction. I don't know. So historical fiction. Seems like we did one where the woman was helping something in the war. Remember that?
Yes.
She
Oh,
carried
yeah,
people
yeah.
across the border.
Mm-hmm. That was
I
a long
loved
time
that
ago.
book.
Yeah.
That was a great book.
It was a
What
great
was that
book.
called?
The
light.
all the light that you cannot see or whatever.
Is
No.
that was that?
No,
that book?
that's not it. It's
No,
like
it was something like that.
Nightingale or something.
It was by that author.
Nightingale.
Yeah.
Was it even in this book club though, or was it in the book club that predates this podcast?
Oh,
I
maybe.
feel like-
Oh, that's funny.
You may be right. It may be that. This podcast is brought to you by Magic Spoon. I know I've talked about this before. I am a huge fan of Magic Spoon. I love cereal. I love cereal in general. I've always loved it. But Magic Spoon has so much protein and so little sugar. I don't feel guilty ever eating Magic Spoon. I ate Magic Spoon for breakfast this morning. I love this cereal. It has 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. So only 140 calories in a serving. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low carb. It comes in a variety pack. 4 flavors: cocoa, fruity, frosted, and peanut butter. You can mix and match, like cocoa and peanut butter. Amazing. Fruity and frosted together. Amazing. To be honest with you, frosted and peanut butter. Amazing. Frosted and chocolate. Amazing. I love this cereal. It's so yummy. So if you're interested in giving it a try, go to magicspoon.com/wife to grab a variety pack and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code WIFE at checkout to save $5 off your order. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/wife and use the code WIFE to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this episode. This podcast is also brought to you by Today Tix. I was just on there booking tickets for Hadestown. Hadestown is in LA, and my daughter wants to see it. So I was like, hey, we got nothing to do on this particular date. Let's get some tickets. So I just bought tickets to Hadestown using Today Tix. It was super easy. They have an app also. I downloaded their app and used their app to access great tickets. They have Moulin Rouge is coming to town. You best believe I'm going to see that. And I'm going to buy my tickets through Today Tix because it's super, super fast. It's very convenient. It's in multiple cities. So if you're planning a spring break trip to New York, you can buy your tickets at Today Tix. If you're going to go see Grandma in Chicago, guess what? You can buy tickets to shows there through todaytix.com. It makes seeing Broadway shows, maybe not on Broadway, but Broadway shows in a different city, super easy, really flexible. Last minute, if you want last minute, they got it. So you should check them out. See that show you've always wanted to see or discover something new that you'll love just as much for even less. Go to todaytix.com/wife and use promo code WIFE to get $10 off your first Today Tix purchase. That promo code WIFE at todaytix, which is tix.com/wife for an additional $10 off your first ticket purchase. todaytix.com/wife.
While you're looking that up, I just finished listening to Where the Crawdads Sing. Have you read that yet?
Oh, I've got it. And I started it, but I couldn't focus.
I did the same thing. I couldn't get into it, but it wasn't the fault of the book. It was the fault of where I was at the moment that I picked it up.
Me too.
So.
Same.
I listened to it on audiobook and it was very easy to listen to. I actually think audio is probably better than reading it.
Really?
The person who did it was great.
20 best historical fiction books. The Pillars of the Earth.
Oh my God, we're not
yeah.
reading The Pillars of the Earth.
Yeah.
I will tell you why. It is like 1,200 or 1,300 pages
huge
long,
book.
1,400 maybe.
Sorry.
It is
sorry.
way too long.
I'm just reading the list.
Oh my God, my father-in-law gave that to me. That's like one of my father-in-law's favorite books. It is a classic historical fiction, and it's one of his favorite books. He gave it to me for Christmas one year, and I was like, oh my God, like it was so much pressure.
Yeah, he gave you a burden.
Well,
gave you
and
a
it was
burden.
like early enough in our relationship that I wanted to impress him more. Like, so I was like trying to power through this book, and it is not. I will tell you right off the bat, historical fiction is not my jam, and I will happily read it for our book club because lots of things are, doesn't mean that I'm not going to love it. But like 1,400 pages of historical fiction, it was a lot. It was a lot.
That's a lot.
And then he kept saying, "Oh, have you read it yet?" And I'd be like, "I'm working on it.
I'm working on it. Don't kick me out
Give
of the
me until
family."
next Christmas.
Right?
Yes. So Pillars of the Earth is a hard pass on me.
Okay,
but
hard
people
pass. Okay,
love
hard pass.
it.
Got
People
it. 10-4,
love
10-4, 10-4. All the light we cannot see.
That's a
Catherine
good
of
book.
Aragon, the true queen.
I don't know that book.
Gone with the Wind. Memoirs of a Geisha. Loved that book.
That was a good book.
The Nightingale. So we've already read that, maybe before this book club. Before We Were Yours. A Gentleman in Moscow. The Alice Network. The Tattooist of Auschwitz. Once Upon
That
a
actually
River.
is a really good book and disturbing.
Well, I don't want to read disturbing.
Yeah, I'm not recommending it.
The
I've already
Murmur
read it. I
of
want to read something I
Bees,
haven't read.
The Song of Achilles, The Water Dancer, the Pachinko, The Nickel Boys, Pulitzer Prize winner for fiction. That one. That is about the Underground Railroad. Oh no, wait, no, that's not true. Never mind. Wolf Hall, Homecoming, Kristen. Oh God.
Wolf Hall, people rave about, but I have no idea
I
what
don't know
it's
what that
about.
is either.
Nothing.
Oh,
about it.
the many relationships and surrounding intrigue of King Henry VIII have been the subject of so many books, TV series, and films that could form their own canon. But it's with good reason. The heirless king's life was absolutely fraught with personal and political chaos that rippled out into English government and society to both great and tragic ends. Hilary Mantel's particular perspective on the era focuses on the impact of Henry's political foil, Thomas Cromwell, and his entry on the scene, thanks to the thrilling theatrical performance of narrator Simon Slater. Oh, this is an audiobook. Cromwell and the king and other familiars like Thomas More and Cardinal Wolsey have their own voice here, all of which are rich with personality, whatever. So it's about King Henry VIII. Homecoming. Kristen Lavransdatter. So Kristen Lavransdatter. Lavransdatter. That one.
Oh, she sounds like an Icelandic author.
No, that's not the
No,
author.
that's
That's
not
the,
the- oh.
that's the
That's the
title of
title?
the book.
Okay.
If you didn't know it, you would never guess while listening to Kristen Lavransdatter trilogy saga that it was anything but a new release. Oh, well, whatever. It's
It's
from
a
the
trilogy.
20s. It's a trilogy.
We're not
You want to read a trilogy?
I do not. I do not.
City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Oh, I read that.
You read it?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's pretty good, actually.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
But you've already read it.
I have already read it.
Hmm. Well, let's look at The Nickel Boys because it won the Pulitzer, just to read what that is. Colson Whitehead's The Underground Railroad took the literary world by storm when it was released in 2016, and The Nickel Boys follows in the same tradition. Based on a real story, Whitehead's narrative follows a pair of boys enrolled in a, quote, reform school called the Nickel Academy in a segregated part of Florida under Jim Crow. Main character Elwood draws heavily on the words of Martin Luther King Jr. for strength in maintaining an attitude of radical kindness and love. A contemplation accented perfectly by the narrator, I guess in this book. Rich, dignified tone, even as it becomes apparent that the school is actually a lawless prison staffed by evil and abusive officials. His friend Turner, on the other hand, grows hardened by cynicism as their trials endure and their diametrically opposed attitudes result in decisions and behaviors that will go on to define their lives. Okay. Nickel Boys. Should we see how long it is? It's a 6-hour read.
Oh, that's
That's actually
short.
not that bad. Yeah.
Okay. Why don't we do that? Does that sound good?
What's it called? Nickel Boys?
The Nickel Boys.
The Nickel
winner
Boys.
of the
Okay.
2020 Pulitzer Prize for Fiction.
Okay, so that's a
Let's do it.
recent
Yeah.
winner. Yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds
2016. That's not that long
Yeah.
ago. All right.
Yeah. The Nickel Boys. Nickel. The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. Okay, that's our next pick. 6 hours. We can do that one day. Boom. Right. So you want to meet next
Probably
week?
not
in
as
book club?
easy as a read as this.
I know, right?
But seriously, that's like 2
so-
days of driving to school for me. So
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's super doable. And I know you're really busy, Kirsten, and I'm really busy right now. But
I got nothing to do.
you got nothing to do? Oh, good. Then you can read for all of us.
Let's read the like
just
1,400
downloaded
page book.
Why not?
Yeah,
You got
why
nothing
not?
but time.
I got nothing going
Daylight's
on.
burning, man.
Yep.
Let's get it done. Okay, I'm looking forward to that book. Actually, I think I heard something about that book on a radio show, probably back when it won the Pulitzer, a long time ago. So, okay, I'm looking forward to that.
Cool.
Are you enjoying the book club?
Yeah.
Do you feel burdened by it?
No.
I'm always so concerned that you feel that you two in particular, because you're my quote regulars, my series regulars, that I burden you with my podcast. And I also feel really bad to ask you to come another time, because that's 2 days of your month that you give me. It's not a whole day. It's an hour and a half, 2 hours.
It doesn't sound like, I mean, listen, an hour and a half is not a big ask. It's just amazing how hard it is to book sometimes.
Right. And it
because-
doesn't feel like a burden, but it is shocking how like it takes a really long time to coordinate.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
That's the hardest part. It's not that getting here or doing it is a burden at all.
No.
Well,
Well, I hope it's fun.
It's
I have
just-
so
no,
much
it's-
fun.
exactly.
Yeah. It's just that all of our lives are so ridiculously busy
Don't
and
coincide.
yeah, complex.
And they don't coincide. I know
Yeah,
that
that's
is the most
tricky part, right?
That is the most frustrating part about
Yeah.
this podcast is the scheduling, because I would do this every single day. I would sit in this
Yeah.
chair and have a conversation with somebody every day. But the scheduling is so hard. And we don't have anybody who does that for my podcast. We have someone who does it for the Bertcast. So, but we're looking into hiring somebody, a creative person that kind of oversees and will help. But I always feel so bad. I always like, God, I can't believe I'm going to text them again and ask them if they want to come on this podcast. Dang it. So thank you for coming and showing up every week. And I do
Don't
want to
feel
talk
bad.
about the Girl Scouts. Should we just do 2 short episodes, stop now and do a 45-minute episode about the Girl Scouts? What do you think, Halston? Should we do that? Oh, come on. I can't get these 2 butts in chairs here. You're not helping me. You're fired. Oh, that's not the answer I wanted.
Halston, you need to be a yes man, apparently.
Please, come on. No, but then I've lost it. I think that, well, okay. Do you want to talk about it now? Yeah.
The buildup, please. The buildup has been excruciating. Like,
I don't think so. I don't think people
listen,
think
no
that
one
much
was
about it.
murdered. No one, like,
But a couple people might have died and then came back to life. Okay. Should we talk about it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
let's do it.
Kirsten's over it. She's ready.
I'm so over it.
She's over it.
She needs a short book. She needs
a short book, and she's get this off my list. Okay. I know you think you know everything about my heart condition, but you don't. So can you just take this off my list, because you're causing me heart palpitations? The reason I had a heart attack was the impending doom of this podcast episode.
the buildup of the Girl Scout podcast. You have caused a second heart attack.
Seriously.
Well, okay, so we were working on a women's health badge, which I think that's why I thought this was a whole episode. It's not just to talk about the ridiculously funny and insane one meeting, but how powerful each meeting was in this series, in this badge. And caveat, anybody who's a Girl Scout leader, anybody who works at girlscouts.org, we do not exactly follow the rules completely when we do a badge. We try to follow the spirit of the badge. Would you say that's accurate?
It was like a confessional all of a
No,
sudden.
100%.
Yeah, right?
But you're making it sound like we're doing something wrong, because
No,
one
no,
of the
I am not.
badges is called Eating for Beauty, and we were like,
Fuck
that.
Yeah, no.
Like, we are not doing that badge. But then when we saw which badge it corresponded to with the older girls, we were like, okay, well, our focus is not on eating for beauty. Like,
Right.
we want to focus on health and
Yeah.
nutrition and women's health and so yeah, the caveat is that ours is actually better, that we go deeper.
Well, yeah.
So, I'm just saying, some people would say we don't exactly follow the Girl Scouts thing because they're like, oh, we'll just skip that. We'll just skip those steps. We don't want to do that.
We
And
stay
they
with the
just-
spirit of it.
But there are some troops who just kind of hand out badges and are like, yeah, we did a couple
Oh, no,
of
we don't
steps.
do that.
No. We work hard
Yeah.
and we go, perhaps I would say, deeper than
Yeah.
the Girl Scouts
I think so.
organization asks
Yes.
of us. Yes.
Whoever up there high up at Girl Scouts who named a badge eating for beauty
It's so offensive.
should really rethink that.
Yeah.
You should eating for health. How about that? Eating for health. Has nothing to do with beauty.
Yeah.
Eating to be healthy because
I think actually that's what it's called, by the way.
No, it's not.
No, one of them is called Eating for Beauty. I
It
swear
is.
to you.
When I went to order it, it was called Eating for Health.
Well,
Okay,
then they changed
renamed
it.
They may have
So
changed
They
it.
changed
Yes.
it.
Good.
But I
okay.
think someone got the message because
Good.
when we looked it up, it was definitely Eating for Beauty.
Yes.
But when I ordered them, they're called Eating for Health.
Okay, good.
Okay, good.
So-
Well, that's good because that was a little shocking actually.
It
that they
was
would-
offensive.
A
Did
lot
you say
shocking.
that? It was like, yes, it was. It's offensive.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
seriously, what the
Yeah.
hell are we teaching
Yeah.
girls today?
Yeah.
I'm
Like, that's-
pretty sure that the Boy Scouts do not have an Eating for Beauty.
You think they have
badge,
eating for
yeah.
muscles? Eating for muscles. Eating to build testosterone.
it up.
And now
How
we're
to
offending
replace
the Boy
steroids.
Scouts, right?
Right? No, right. So anyway, this eating for health badge we did was it just called Women's Health Badge for the older
I
girls?
think so.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And so we decided to kind of combine the two because we have two levels that we're dealing with
Three
at the
levels.
same time.
We had the big girls do it too.
Oh, you're right. The big girls did. We have three levels. You're
Mhm.
right. Totally right. So one of our meetings, we dealt with how the outside affects the in, how smiling can affect how you feel on the inside, how your posture affects how you feel on the inside. And what do you think about that?
Was that the power poses one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, power poses. And how you stand like with your hands on your hips and how that affects
To make you
how
feel more confident. And if you do that, like before you go into it, like a lot of kids were going to high school interviews.
Mhm.
If you take 5 minutes outside, you can truly change how you feel about yourself walking into a stressful situation, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's stuff that kids don't know.
Yeah.
And I know some kids actually used it.
Oh,
and
Isla
tried it.
Kreischer for a week was like standing in the kitchen with her hands on her hips going, I'm power posing. I'm power posing. It really works. It works. So she started using it. I think she still uses it from time to time.
Uh-huh.
I learned that years ago when I was running, that I read an article about the science behind if you smile when you're on a treadmill or like when you're working out, you will 100% get more energy. And like if you're just really having a trudge and you're running and just like, oh, then to literally just smile and power that out, that it literally, it can get you through.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Well, yeah, the power poses, we had them all practice the ones that are not power poses, like how you sit with your legs
Slumping.
crossed and slumped and
Yep.
how that makes you feel. And then to do the power poses and how that makes you feel and discuss it. I thought it was a really good meeting. What else did we do in that meeting? I
It
don't
was a
remember.
good meeting. No, I think that's. Did we do
I
something?
missed that.
You missed
You
that
weren't
meeting,
there,
yes.
right? You know, it's always fun because doing it in a group is always interesting, right? Because we have some people who are super outgoing who will stand up there and power pose until the cows come home, right?
Yep.
And other kids who just are like, "Are you? I'd like to stab you in the eye if
Yeah.
you're going to make me stand up and do something ridiculous like that," right?
Yep.
But then they're
And they all do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there
And
are
they all,
always
like-
a few that are
Yes.
surprising that you're like, oh, I didn't see
Right.
you being so against it. I didn't see you being so
Right.
for it.
And, you know, I know this is not the PC thing to say, but the power of peer pressure makes them all get up and do it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool,
Yeah.
actually, because sometimes you need that little kick in the butt to stand up and
Yes.
try it. And may or may not work in that moment. But if you walk away with it, maybe it'll sink in. I don't know. But
I think
It's pretty fun.
I thought it was really powerful.
yeah.
It was really cool to watch them process it. You know,
Yeah.
I like watching them process the learning that's
Yeah.
happening. And some of them learn kicking and screaming, and some of them
Yes.
like walk straight toward it and love the learning. It's a couple girls in particular that are so cynical that are so negative Nellies. Like the minute something new, they're out of their comfort zone comes up, there is trash, and they do it anyway.
Yeah,
like you said.
Exactly.
It's really cool to watch. Those girls in particular
Yes.
do it anyway. So that was one meeting. And then we decided to do a little covert ops a little bit, in that we decided to have, I guess it's not covert ops, but we decided to have a therapist talk to them about mental health so that we were removed from it. And we decided to have a nutritionist talk to them about food, again, so that we are removed from it and that they're talking to an expert in their field. And I think that was a really good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Which should we talk about first?
Well, we'll do it in order, right? We had the mental health person come first.
That's right. Yep.
I don't know. It's hard to talk about that. We weren't there.
We weren't there, but here's the gist of it.
But the takeaway.
Yes. The gist of it was we wanted to communicate. I spoke with she's a personal friend of ours who is a marriage and family therapist. She works with teens. That's one of her focuses. And one of her focuses within teens is anxiety. So it was kind of a perfect fit for our group. Her daughter used to be in our troop. So she knew all the girls, and I think the girls, some of them knew she was a therapist. Maybe some of them didn't. But what we wanted her to communicate was how therapy works, what different types of therapy there are, where you can get help and what types of help is available, and what are the rules. Because I know when I was talking to Isla about therapy, she thought for sure the therapist told the parents everything. And as much as I said that's not true, she did not believe me. She really thought that the therapist and the parents were totally in cahoots, 100%. So that was something that I felt was really important that Amy discussed with them. So we kind of gave her some parameters. What else did we ask her to talk about? Anything else?
We didn't. We asked the girls to write questions.
Yes.
That's right.
That was before they walked in. Like, what would you want to know? What would you ask a therapist? No strings attached, like anonymous questions. What would you like answered? Which I think was pretty cool too. Like, and I think we loaded the ballot box of a couple with like, do you tell our parents everything?
Yes.
We put a couple in there, and then they asked their own questions, and she just pulled them all out and answered every single one.
Mm-hmm. Well, so the other part of it is the three of us left the room and left her with the girls alone so that the girls could feel free to speak openly, because the three of us are a direct pipeline to parents. Yeah. So we wanted that removed.
Yes. And she was speaking to them as a therapist. So it was like nothing leaves these walls.
Yes. She said that at the very beginning. This is like a therapy session. Everything's confidential. So I thought it was really good. And I can tell you this. After that, Isla asked me if she could start therapy to deal with her anxiety. And I think that for her, the piece where Amy said, no. The only time a therapist contacts your parents is if you're hurting yourself, if you're in danger, or if you're hurting someone else. That's when we have to bring a parent in. And I think when she heard that from Amy, she went, okay, then I think that may actually be true. Because, I am a known liar and skank. Yes. And my skanky lying just flows everywhere. And Isla's like, skanky liar. Can't trust her.
I know. I don't know if the tank top is going to help things.
Well, now I've been proven to be a truth teller.
Right.
Hopefully, since it has been accurate with her therapist. She's, day one we sat together and I was like, please tell her what you can tell me in front of me so we're all on the same page. And we've all kept to that. And it's kind of, now Isla tells me, not everything, but every time she gets in the car, she's like, so here's what we talked about. And I'm like, I don't need to know. This is your private space. But she wants to share, which of course.
Because it's on her terms.
Because it's on her terms and because she knows it's safe and that it's sacred. And if she doesn't want to share, she doesn't have to. But I really don't think she believed that before Amy.
Yeah, I think it was a great session. Amy also very thoughtfully brought little gift basket, like little gift bags for the girls, which first of all, like everybody loves a gift bag.
Everybody.
But like it was very thoughtful. It was like a squeezy ball.
It was all about dealing with anxiety. Yeah. Like there was like lavender oil and like
a fidget
toys and exactly.
A very specific mint. Her one daughter, someone in her life has trouble breathing when they have anxiety. And this one particular mint opens up all their kind of air passages and helps them breathe. It was very thoughtful. You're right. It was very, and very kind and giving of her to spend her Sunday afternoon. Another therapist, a different therapist, spoke to the older girls via Zoom. Kirsten, who's a regular guest. Amy's a guest here too. Yeah. But they were, I was not in that Zoom session. I handled it the same way that we handled it for the younger girls. And they were a lot more hesitant to talk and be open. So I don't know how effective it was. It was pretty effective for Georgia. She really liked it, but I don't know how effective it was for the group.
I wonder if that was the Zoom thing.
It might have been. It might have been. But
yeah, I mean, there's no way to know.
No
but
way.
It's very different when you're in a room than when you're on Zoom.
That's very true. When you're with your peers side by side.
Yeah. And also Zoom for them feels so much like school. Like that's a really hard place to open up.
Yeah.
Right. Like you don't do that in that forum. So I would imagine that probably played a role in it.
Yeah, I'm sure probably. So after that, we had our friend Lacey come in. She's also been a guest on my podcast. She has a minor in nutrition and she's a personal trainer. So she knows lots about health and nutrition. We had the girls meet us at a grocery store and do a scavenger hunt to look for what? What were they looking for?
Lots of things. They were looking for
good question.
Just different protein content, just
things that like, can you find something that doesn't have I don't know, some processed food that like where you can name all of the ingredients and things like that. Certain types of protein in different foods. I forget. I don't know.
Hydrogenated oil probably and something.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they had to take pictures of everything they found.
They had a blast.
They had a blast.
The takeaway was they had a blast.
Yeah. They had a blast. Well, we did the scavenger hunt at the local grocery store and then we relocated here where Lacey was waiting for them to talk to them about what they saw on the label, because what she wanted to do is teach them how to read a nutritional label on a food and to know. And we again stepped out of that meeting, right? So that she could speak to them without us. So what I understand is she made a PowerPoint and she talked about what's in your food and what you need nutritionally to eat, how much protein you need to eat every day, what you should avoid and why. And I think it was really helpful.
And what you should have and why.
And what you should have and why, yeah. It was a good conversation. But again, we stepped out of it.
Yeah.
So that they could.
I think we stepped out of it because we didn't really need to be there. She had a handle on it. But
yes.
True.
But I think they're different when we're not there too.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I think they're different.
Well, also, I mean, all three of us have a daughter in the troop. So there's that dynamic just period. And But then the rest of the girls, like it's been a lot of years, so we know them really well. Like we've been on a lot of trips together, and I think it was really great, and it just shook things up too. They didn't have to look at our faces for the meeting,
right?
They were just looking at somebody new, and Lacey's young and cute, and
and really accomplished in what she does, and it's impressive. I think once she said,
"Yes," I did not mean to take away from all of her accomplishments. I just mean that, to the girls, she presents as like young and vital,
totally,
and fun.
Yeah, totally.
Lily idolizes her. Like whatever Lacey says, fuck, man, that's what we're doing.
100%.
Like it doesn't matter, and still, I mean.
She's not a bad girl to idolize.
No,
she's
absolutely.
Pretty great.
Like I'm cool that she's her role model.
Yeah,
but it like all of the labels. Lily's like, no, I can't. That's not good. I wish this was like this. I'm like, fuck, girl. We got enough eating issues with you. Okay. Like there's only so much we can do because, so much protein comes from nuts, which will kill you.
Yeah,
so let's please dial it back a little. But
no can do that.
She, I'm bummed Lily missed the therapist meeting because she's taken away a lot from all of this stuff.
Right. I was bummed for
anyway.
all the girls that missed that meeting.
Yeah.
Because a few girls missed that meeting.
That really could have benefited from it.
I agree. It was, it really changed Isla. I mean, it really did what I wanted for Isla. I wanted her because she was having so much anxiety with sleep and post-COVID, which was so typical, seems like it's more typical than not, that she really did need help. I mean, it was past my expertise and she was so unwilling to discuss it or think about it. And I'm so glad that it worked, because literally like 2 days later, she said, I think I want to go to therapy. It was like 2 days after that meeting. And of course, I called Amy and said, where should I send her? And she gave me this person who's just a perfect fit. So it all was kind of meant to be for Isla specifically.
Right.
And I was hoping that would happen for more than just one kid.
It probably did, but
Yeah.
also like that's a pretty good. If we get through to one girl per meeting, like that's a lot.
I guess so.
You know?
Yeah,
Right.
you think
And
about it
even
like
if
that,
it's not that extreme, like there are girls who've walked away with stuff. Like
Yeah, it's
I
true.
definitively
100%,
know that.
Mhm.
So maybe it doesn't result in massive, therapy change or whatever, but
Yeah,
like
even if
tiny
it's-
little bits or
yeah.
things that like you stick in your head that you just revisit later on.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's just
'Cause-
walking away with one of the questions that were answered, regardless of who wrote it, even if it wasn't their question, was like, one of the questions was, how do you know if it's time to go to an adult about a friend? If a
Mhm.
friend is having an issue, if a friend is self-harming, if a friend is doing something dangerous. Maybe they learned that. Maybe it was like maybe it's any of the questions that we stuffed in there, but
Right.
just to have one
Possible.
question answered is a huge.
That's so interesting you say that.
Yeah.
Last week, Georgia had a phone call from a friend, and I could tell it was bothering her a lot. And I heard from the parent later that that parent's daughter came to her with a real serious problem. And the daughter had called Georgia with the problem. And I just kind of brought up the friend to Georgia, and she was like, oh boy. And this was after the friend had talked to her mom. I said, what's going on? Everything okay? I already knew what was going on, but I just wanted to give her an outlet. And she goes, yeah, a lot of stuff is going on. And she was telling me about it. And I said, either you tell your mom or I will. And I went, wow, that's really great.
Wow.
I'm glad you did that, because the mom definitely needed to know this was going on. So that's really good that you did that. I don't know if she got it from the therapist who said that to her. That was one of the questions that she got. How do you know when you're supposed to go to an adult? Maybe she got it from that session. I hadn't thought about that. But yeah, this just happened last week. And I was like, I'm really proud of you for saying that and for knowing, okay, this is over that line. This is over the line. A parent needs to be involved at this point. And they did. It was, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So maybe it came from Kristen. Maybe. Thank you, Kristen. Okay. Did we just have one more meeting?
I think so, actually.
We did.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just get to it.
It's the doozy. We've been just building up for that. Okay, see all the Lord's work we did before. We did the Lord's work before. We did nutrition. We did mental health. We did how the outside affects the in. And then there's a part of the badge where you're supposed to talk about women's health specifically that has to do with what tests you need throughout your life.
That are women specific.
Specific.
Not just like blood pressure.
Yes.
Which obviously is something
Everybody
needs to be checked, but
It was about heart disease and how it looks different in women and, women's stuff. So the three of us ran this meeting with a group of girls.
The three of us being the three experts.
The
We
three
didn't
experts,
have
right?
an expert come in, which probably in hindsight was a bad idea.
No, it was not a bad idea. It was amazing.
Because just to be clear, we were not standing up there as doctors. We stood up there with a chart that you can print up from any health website.
Yes.
I think it was from CDC or
Like something like that.
And it was just literally a chart of at what ages women should have different tests. And so we just
went through it.
Yeah.
But, some of those tests involve a speculum. And we discussed a speculum. We described like what a speculum is and where it goes and the faces.
I don't know if you heard this, but like Georgia is sitting on the floor next to me. She goes, I'm almost 18. Because 18 is when you get your first pelvic exam. And she's like knitting away going, I'm almost 18. Just see the horror on her face.
Oh my God.
Like,
the look of horror on all of their
Yes, it
faces.
was
It was
so
like jaws
funny.
dropped
Yeah.
en masse.
Yes.
And we were standing up in front of them and they were all just like dumbfounded, disgusted, disturbed, disdain, like all of the every dis possible.
Yes.
Like
Mouths open. Sydney was
was-
over on the side going, I think I'm ready to go home now. I'm ready to go home now. Can I go home now? She was just saying that in the meeting because they were like, here's okay. Every woman has to get a pap smear. Does anybody know what a pap smear is? And of course, nobody did.
Right.
And so we had to describe. We didn't have to. We chose to describe what a pap smear is.
Because
Mhm.
as going through it, not knowing what the fuck you're getting yourself into because nobody told you what it was, it's pretty horrible.
Yeah.
So while it's horrible to hear it described, it's a hell of a lot better, I think, for those kids to walk in going, okay, at least I know what's happening where and why.
yeah,
And
this
why?
isn't just some medieval
Right.
torture device that my demonic doctor has like brought, you know, like
Although it does feel that way. You're
I'm
like,
not
really?
being professionally sexually molested. I am actually getting my health taken
Right.
care of.
seriously.
We did that with we talked about the breast exam too. And described the breast exam. I mean, the face. I wish we could have recorded their faces. Of course, we could have shown no one except
Yeah.
the three of us.
Right.
And
But I would love
their
to have seen
parents,
it.
their
But-
parents would have loved to have seen the look of horror. And then
I
when
know.
we described, like, oh well, just wait till you have to have a mammogram, and they were like,
What?
I mean,
There's this machine, and you lay your breast on it, and then this thing
crushes it.
crushes your breast, and they're like, "Oh my God!" Their faces were. Sydney literally the whole time kept going, "I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to go home now." In her like deadpan.
they were all. I mean, I remember all of them. I remember
Ugh.
Addie and
Some of them had questions. Were asking questions, and
Oh my God. The conversation about yeast.
oh. So we also talked about yeast infections and
yeah.
UTIs, which Isla has confused now and thinks a UTI is a yeast infection and thinks a yeast infection is a UTI. And I'm like, totally unrelated. Two completely different holes, actually. So you're really confused. But the yeast infection, yes. We
my
were trying
God.
to make it funny. Or I was trying to make it funny.
Yes.
I think you were too.
We were trying to have
Yes.
some levity. Yes.
Yes.
We did not.
well, and we were
Weren't
trying to just
traumatized.
say, look, guys, like Vivian was horrified when I said, listen, every woman you know, every girl and woman that you know has to go through these things. So it's like you're not alone.
Yeah.
Because when we were younger, we all had the
Yeah.
experience of feeling like, wait a minute, they're supposed to do that? Like, are
Yeah.
they supposed to be touching my boobs like during this doctor's appointment? What's going on?
Yeah.
And we just wanted to like lay it all out there and say, these are things that are normal and that everyone in your life, your teachers, your Girl Scout leaders, your all this. And Vivian afterwards was like, you know, I really could have done without visualizing every woman in my life.
That's hysterical. I really could have done without. Like my grandmother has this happen. Oh my gosh. But they do.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a fact of life. You got to deal with this stuff. I'm really glad we had these conversations with them
Yes.
because I feel like we ripped a Band-Aid off because none of them wanted to hear it.
Right.
None of them wanted to understand any of it. But even like a UTI, I mean, we had talked about how you get a UTI. Like, no one told me that you're supposed to wipe front to back ever. I just wiped. And I was like raking shit into the wrong hole for years. And then when I started was sexually active, I would get a UTI every time I had sex. Every time. And I didn't know why until finally my doctor said, I don't think we said this in the meeting, but
No, we did not.
A,
We definitely did not.
you have to pee after you have sex, and B, you have to wipe front to back. So, and I was like, oh, did not know that I was. No one says to you, hey, your
Right.
vagina's full of bacteria.
Yeah.
So just so you know, that bacteria should like stay where it is. You don't need to rub it around. No one told me that. I didn't know there was bacteria in my vagina. I mean, why would you? We don't even talk about our vaginas ever in school
Talk
or
about
ever.
any of that.
No.
That's why the vagina monologues, when Eve Ensler wrote that, it was like so earth shattering because people weren't used to hearing that word. They were like, ah!
I know, right? You said it out loud.
Yes.
Yeah, but guess what? We all have one.
Yeah.
Or
50% of the world
has one.
Yeah.
So we should take care of it and everything else involved with being a woman. But yeah, the UTI thing where we're just like, drink cranberry juice. You can tell your parents if you have this problem.
This is what it feels like.
Yes.
This is the symptoms.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that you know.
And it happens. Like,
It happens.
don't be embarrassed. Tell your parents because it's going to be a hell of a lot worse if you don't.
Yes, right.
You know?
Could develop into something much worse. Same with a yeast infection.
Yeah.
It happens. It stinks literally and figuratively. And you just gotta
know you cannot use it to bake bread.
It makes you itchy. And they were like, what? Wait a minute, yeast? Like yeast? Like, yeah, I can make some bread with it. And they were like, what? What?
Oh, God.
But it happens. I don't know. I was really proud of the three of us for the way we handled that conversation because I think we just stuck to facts.
Yeah.
Kept it light. Kept it like this is no big deal. This is part of life. This is just information you need to know. Not anything dramatic. Not anything scary. You know, because it is scary. The first pap smear is super scary.
Yeah.
I took my own advice. I told the girls that what I like to do is when like you have to have your annual exam. It's not, it's not pleasant. I'm not saying like I look forward to it. I'm certainly not like looking forward to it, but you got to get it on the calendar. And then I congratulate myself that I'm taking care of my health.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I go there, I scout out someplace nearby where I can get myself a little treat.
Right.
And I hadn't done that recently because my OBGYN's office was really near this sandwich shop that I really loved, Capriati's. Oh, but it closed near there. So I haven't gotten myself a treat the last several years. And then I thought about this conversation we had to the girls and I said, I told the girls to treat themselves and I'm not treating myself. And then I remembered that there was Sprinkles cupcakes.
Oh, nice.
Store, and I got myself a cupcake afterwards.
Nice.
I was like, screw it. I'm going to treat myself. I'm
Heck
taking
yeah.
care of my health.
Totally. I'm going to take care of my health by eating something really bad.
Yes.
No, just kidding. You deserve that.
Yeah.
It is not.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the mental health component is important because yes, it is an unpleasant experience. It's not something that I look forward to. It's something that I would like to put off. But realistically, does it help you to put off medical things? No, not at all. Kathy.
Kathy. Are you up to date with all your appointments?
Almost, yes.
Almost. What
It's
is
that time
that?
of year. It's that time of year. So it's like about to be.
Oh, okay.
So like appointments are
gearing up.
booked. If
Oh,
that's what
good.
you
They're
need to
booked.
do.
Oh, good.
Yay.
Yes.
Although I
Oh,
will
okay.
say, I have sort of pushed a little bit. I think we were talking about this. I really like having everything done at once. So
Mhm.
it's in my brain. Like the month of March is when you get all that shit done.
Yeah.
Right. Like the breast exam, the pap smear, like all of that stuff.
Mhm.
And because of COVID and because of a lot of things, things got really spread out
Mhm.
because after having last year, was it? I think after having like one of the COVID shots, you couldn't get a breast exam for 6 weeks. So like everything sort of got pushed out. So like I'm actually due for my exam, but I pushed it back a little bit so that things are
So they'll be
within like
together.
a 2-week period
Yeah,
so that
yeah.
I still have everything back on track. So
I do the same thing.
it just
Yeah.
makes it
That's
easier.
part of the reason that I'm
like-
so unavailable.
Oh, yeah,
Next
is
one.
now's the
I've
time?
been going through all of them.
Yeah.
And
Like in everything, like my eye doctor, like they're
Me
all
too,
at the exact same
Yeah.
time. Like the dentist, you throw it all together
Yeah.
and then you're just like at 1 month where you're like, fuck.
March is medical month.
Yeah, right.
March is medical month. It is for me. I got my physical, my colonoscopy, and my mammogram all in March. So I'm good. And my colonoscopy came back healthy.
Sweet. Yay.
Little inflammation, which
COVID related or?
he doesn't know. And
Uh-huh.
he said he thinks it'll clear up on its own. So as long as I don't have any persisting symptoms, then he was like, I'll see you in 10 years. I was like, cha-ching. I don't really want to do
Yay.
this again for 10 years because
Great.
pooping for like 12 hours straight is not my idea of a good time. But I'm glad it's over with. But yeah, medical March.
Right. But then it's good because then you have 11 months where you don't think about that shit.
That's
Like
right.
you don't have to worry about it. It's not like a
Mhm.
constant, I don't know. That's how I like to deal with it.
Yeah,
So
totally.
I do
I'm
that.
pushing things
I'm
so they're back
March
together.
and my kids are May.
Uh-huh.
March and May. So because I can't do us all at the same time. It's just too much for 1 month.
I started, so all of our
My
stuff
kids are
got
at their
pushed.
birthdays. So they're
Oh,
like-
right.
Oh, that makes sense. I don't know why ours all got put to May one year, and I was like, perfect. We'll just keep it May.
Yeah.
So anyway, what were you saying?
Oh, no, I was just supposed to do all of this stuff in January. I was like, I'm going to start the year off right, bang it on out. And then, of course, I had other medical fish to fry, so I had to push them
Yeah.
all off. And so then I had to reschedule all of these. So I was really frustrated because I already went to all of the effort to schedule all these. There's nothing worse than having to
Yeah.
redo work
Yeah,
that you
I hate
already
it.
did. And then waiting to hear back and juggling them. And then I realized I was starting to have PTSD from when Vivian was really little because we literally had 20 specialists.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
but then there's like the regular, like you still have to go to
Yeah.
the dentist and you still have I still had to go to regular doctors and whatever. And we went to so many doctors on a weekly, throughout the week. It was just, it literally put me in therapy at the time. And she diagnosed me with PTSD because there was just so much trauma from all the time that she was in the hospital and then all of the aftermath of the hospital and just needing to go to so many different specialists. And I started to feel that again, ramping up when I was writing all these things in my calendar and going, wait a minute, but I don't have any time to go to the dentist because we have this on this day and this and this and this and this. And Richard was like, slow down. And I'm like, but I like jamming them all into 1 month. And he's like, it doesn't seem like you like it right now. So I dialed it back a little bit.
That's good. No need in working that ticker any harder than we
Right.
need to.
And hopefully the specialist will drop off soon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you'll just be back to your regular.
Yeah.
Let's
Back
hope.
to regular.
Yeah.
That would be good. So the conclusion of this Girl Scout that everyone is so anticipated, that's been really built up. It was really kind of amazing. I mean, to be
It
honest
was,
with you,
yes.
all 4 meetings were really, really good.
It was a good badge. They got a lot out of that badge. I mean, in
Yes.
our imagining of the badge.
Yes.
It was a great
Yes.
badge.
Yeah. And in watching the girls, right? Like you can see, I don't know, like you can just see them grow. You can see them connect with one another. You can see them learn something. You can see them walk away with something, even if it's horror. Like it is something that they walked away with, right? Like,
no, but I think
I
they
don't-
walked away with a lot more than that.
I
A
agree.
lot more,
Yeah.
but honestly, even
They
if it is
did.
just that, some of their
Yeah.
favorite Girl Scout memories
Yes.
have been the things that they've been horrified at.
Yes.
Like
very
when they
true.
talk about how,
Yes.
like not our last camping trip, but the one in the fall, a bunch of them were bonding over how horrible the food was there. By the way, it was not our fault that the food was horrible. It was because we were doing a primitive camping badge, so they
yeah.
needed to fulfill steps and like cook over an open flame
Yep.
and cook over coals and cook
Cooking
in a
a
box
foil
oven.
pouch. And
Yes, exactly. All of these different things. So a bunch of them were complaining about, but they were,
How
but
funny.
like in that way that you like savor the complaining.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, remember that time that we had to eat and then nothing cooked over the coals, and they were just loving it. And
Remember the spider?
yeah,
You're like, really?
oh my God,
There
I've heard about the
were-
spiders so
Oh
many
my
times.
God, the
My God.
spider. I never
There been-
actually saw a spider.
Well, there have been several spiders actually, because there was another spider, our last Wallawi.
Oh, yes, I heard about that spider. I wasn't at that Wallawi.
No, you weren't at that. Neither of you were at that one,
No.
but there was a spider. Spiders are a big deal.
Maybe the spider just follows us on
Maybe.
everything. Maybe the spider's in our camping gear.
It maybe
My
it
daughter
shows up.
is like one of the prime complainers about the
My daughter is
spider.
not.
the spider.
My daughter runs screaming from a spider. She had to put everybody's shoes outside or something, didn't she? Because of a spider. There was something bad. I don't know. Yeah, spiders are a
I
big
always
deal.
threaten to release spiders into her room if she doesn't clean up. I said, you'd never know if they were in here at this point because it's so filthy.
That's pretty deeply evil.
I mean, I'm willing to do it too.
Whatever it takes.
Right? That's hysterical. Oh my
That's
God. Well, thanks for being
Mhm.
such great teammates with this Girl Scout troop.
It's pretty fun.
I
It is
think
fun.
we have a good team. The three of
Yes,
we
us
do.
make a good team.
I agree.
Onward and upward, right?
Yep.
Only what, 4 more years?
4 more years.
4 more years. Wowza. 2 years of Cathy and I just being totally selfless. Not having a kid in the troop. Just doing it anyway.
Uh-huh.
Because we love these kids. It's been a real blessing. I have to say,
Yeah.
as the older girls were getting ready for their dinner party badge, their level has a badge called dinner party where they have to plan a dinner party, write a menu, develop a budget for the whole party, for decor, for everything, and then execute it all. And I did nothing. I literally just set up the meetings to do certain steps at each meeting, and then we set this dinner party. And when they showed up, I said, "Listen, I'm going to sit on the couch. If you need to know where a pan is in my kitchen, let me know. Other than that, you do your thing." And they did the whole thing. They had so much fun, and I keep going. It's just so hard to keep seniors in high school engaged. And at the end of the night, I gave them their graduation cords and told them that. I was like, I'm just really impressed that the 4 of you have been doing this since you were in 2nd grade. They started in 2nd grade and are still doing this and enjoying it and really want to be here. That's really great. You should honor that for the rest of your life. Like, you should make sure that you know that the other 3 girls in your troop, you have a bond with those 3 people you don't have with anybody else on the planet. So that should be honored and respected and valued and cherished forever. And you may not see each other for a long time, but if you ever need help with something, you know you have 3 other people that you just have this kind of like, it's not about school.
Yeah.
It's not about a sport. It's not about anything other than showing up and learning something and experiencing something with this small group. That's really special. So I think our level, I mean, not that you're not part of the bigger level, but you're really kind of not. I mean, you just in very small pockets here and there. But the level that we all do together, the 2 levels, I feel the same way about those girls. Like, they're just this safe place for all of this big group of girls to go their own separate ways and come back and be in a safe space together. They're so lucky to have that, you know, and we created it. We perpetuate it.
Yeah.
It's a lot to be proud of. I'm really proud of what we've done with Girl Scouts. As dorky as that may sound, I think I like the mindfulness that you all, you 2 and I, bring to this job. Like, we've taken on this role to help mold these girls, and we take it very seriously and mindfully, where you look at this badge that says Eating for Beauty and go, well, that sucks. We're not calling it Eating for Beauty.
That is not what we were teaching these girls. That is not.
No.
Yeah.
And to have some discerning moments within the structure that Girl Scouts gives you. Well, if we do one more damn STEM badge or something like that, this is not what's happening in this group of girls, right? This group of girls needs something different. And I'm glad that we are not so rigid that we have to these steps. Sorry, Girl Scouts, but
Actually, just do better. And
we
would
do
be on
better.
board, you know.
That would be great if Girl Scouts did better. Did a little more. Well, I guess it would be hard if you think about it. Not everybody's like we are. Not every leader. I mean, every leader is a volunteer. And so the training that we receive is not about some of this deep critical thinking, deep work. It's about rules and regs and, you know, how you run stuff, but not about the deep thought of like, how are we developing these young ladies? It's like a, you know, point and shoot kind of model, which I guess would have to be that way because they don't know who's volunteering in any given troop.
Every leader brings their own thing to the table. And, you know, some kids wouldn't enjoy our troop.
I think so. Some kids didn't and they left. That's okay. They're just stupid. They are skanks.
No, we love them.
Those children are all skanks. No, of course they're not. I love all of them too.
No,
They
I
just
miss
weren't
a bunch
interested.
of them.
I miss a ton of them.
Kids moved
Yeah.
and
Kids moved and kids weren't
stuff.
interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
And
not
that's okay.
interested.
You don't have to be.
No, and
Right.
kids don't think I'm funny, and then they just don't belong. No, there's a lot of kids who just grew out of it, just got other interests, and that's completely fine. To be expected.
But it's great having a safe space that is just for girls, that has nothing to do with their dating life
No.
and their, their various interests, which may change and which may isolate them from some friend groups.
Mhm.
Some kids are more into sports, some kids are more into theater, some kids are, they're
Mhm.
all over the place. But here is one place where they can just level the playing field,
Right.
and they're all just there just to be girls and to
it's-
lean into the dorkiness.
And it's not about
Mhm.
school. Like it's
not about accomplishments
It's-
either. Like
yeah,
we do badge work
exactly.
to grow and learn, but not to. Nobody's like, ooh, I have a ton of badges and you
Yeah.
don't. Like,
It's a means to an end.
yeah,
right.
It's a means to an end. The end being that they have a communal experience that they learn from, that they can
Yes.
do together and enjoy each other and learn from each other. I mean, I think inarguably one of the most fulfilling, maybe, or one of the things they've enjoyed the most is making freaking soap. They made soap on that camping trip.
Uh-huh.
Talked about it
I've
forever.
heard about it a million times.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then I had the older girls make soap. And when we were at the dinner party, Tatum goes, "Can we do more of like making soap? I love the making soap." And then Elizabeth was like, "I love the making soap too. That was really fun." I was like, "Who knew?" I was like, "You chop glycerin and microwave it, and then you add color and scent, and that's the extent of it.
Yeah.
It's really not." And they just gossiped
Yeah.
and chattered and picked scents together and shopped, and it was so fun to watch.
Do you know what else they really loved recently,
Mm.
which I meant to send you pictures of, when the meeting that we did
Yeah.
with we did like a Project Runway style.
Oh,
but
I
with,
missed
like,
it. I was so bummed.
It was a good one.
we gave them each a bag and said and gave them a challenge. Like the first one was
Like a
prom dress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we
And
gave them like streamers, a tablecloth,
like a plastic tablecloth.
yeah,
and-
like tape and like just household shit. And they had
Yeah.
to create something.
and then they could
out of
only
it.
use like one material
yeah.
for the prom dress, and the next one was like a sports fan theme.
yeah, and they could use,
And they could use two materials.
and they
then
got to choose whatever they
then
wanted.
the final one was choose your own event and use whatever you have. And I mean,
Leftover.
and we also said you can use anything in the yard if it's fallen off of a tree. So some of them used like leaves or
flowers.
flowers. And it was spectacular. They had
They had a
such a blast. They were
bet.
laughing the whole time.
And the
then they
trash
did.
talking. Oh,
Oh my
my God.
They were
Your
so
daughter is
competitive.
terrible. Oh my God. She would like poke her head around the corner. What are you guys doing? Ours is better. It was hysterical.
Yeah.
There's some people closed themselves in the gym so no one could see what they were doing.
Yeah.
Like, oh my
And then we
God.
did a fashion
It
show
was-
for each
yeah.
round. And
Amazing.
they were like working the runway of your backyard. Like it was really cute. And they did a great job. Like
A great job.
I mean, some of
Yeah.
these things I was like, wait a minute, how did you do that? Because I'm like, I'd like to do that with fabric. Like,
That's
some way.
awesome. Oh, don't think I didn't hear about the trash talking.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
funny.
I
Oh
don't
my
remember
God.
what I was doing. I had something going.
had a
You
school
had,
event.
no, it was
Yeah,
the
you-
silent auction.
That's right. It was
It was
the
the
silent
baskets.
auction meeting
Yeah.
that I had. That's right. I knew I had something in the house and I couldn't be back there. So I
Yeah.
was home, but not.
Yeah, I need
It
to
was
upload the pictures
so
to
funny.
Shutterfly because I've got a lot of great pictures
That's
from that day,
awesome.
and it was really, really
Yeah.
fun. It was very chill, and they just
They
loved
had a
it.
blast.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Isla came in and went, "We totally dominated."
Yeah, and they would
I
do
was
that
like,
again,
I'm
like
sure.
any day.
Yeah, they would.
100%.
I should do that with the older
You
girls.
should do that with the
I
older
should.
girls. It was super fun.
'Cause they saw it, didn't they, on their way out?
did,
And
yes.
they were like,
yes,
"Oh,
because
yeah."
it was Tatum's birthday.
It was
She
Tatum's
came-
That's right,
birthday.
yeah.
I'm pretty
And they
sure.
were
Yeah,
making
and she
soap,
came.
so they ran over,
Yeah.
and then I had to leave and go do the silent auction stuff for school, and then they were walking out
Yeah,
as you
yeah.
guys were doing it, and yeah, I'll have to. Maybe we'll do that this weekend. Don't we have a meeting this weekend?
Yeah.
We do.
We do.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I had a meeting last weekend.
Oh yeah, because
Oh,
the
'cause
older
of the
girls
dinner
are
party. Mhm.
off first a second.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're off for a second now. Well, anyway, that's our big Girl Scout meeting. I've been dying to talk about. It was really awesome.
It was
an
awesome.
awesome badge. It was really cool.
Yeah.
So anybody listening, one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it on this is to put it in the brain of maybe other troop leaders and to put it in the brain of parents, like especially that women's health badge. I believe it is from the CDC. There's just a chart that says at this age, you need this test. At this age, you need this test and what the test is for,
right?
Why you need it. And some vaccinations, I think, are on that list as well. Was super helpful. So it's something that anybody who has a middle school, high school daughter, probably more like high school, should have a conversation with your daughter about it. Because they knew nothing. No one in that room knew anything about anything we were discussing.
Right.
Which I found really shocking. I thought surely they would have learned some of this in a health class. But no. Yeah. None of them knew any of it.
It does beg the question, what the hell do they learn in health class? Like, I am kind of curious. Like, because they didn't know any of that.
This is what I was told they learned in health class. This is one of my daughters told me this. I don't remember which one. They learn anatomy. This is your uterus. These are your fallopian tubes. This is how the reproductive system works. This is a brief overview of safe sex. Very brief overview about safe sex. But a lot of it is like, here's a man's anatomy. Here's a woman's anatomy. This is how babies are made. Don't do that. Put a condom on that. Don't touch that. Moving on. And here's the fallopian tube. Kind of like that. Not about, these are the exams you need.
That's interesting. I know my kids did a lot of the drugs, alcohol, cigarettes,
so
that
did
kind
that
of stuff.
Yep, they did that
but
too.
I don't know actually about
health.
About health. I don't actually know what they learned.
No, I don't. My kids did not learn any of that. Especially my kids are at an all-girls school.
Yeah.
They should be talking about women's health and how heart disease looks very different than men's heart disease.
Yeah.
And there are no symptoms to speak of. So what you need to do to know about that.
That's going to be our next meeting. Girls, so let me tell you about my heart attack.
Right?
I'm joking.
And then I can tell them about a colonoscopy and watch them have a heart attack. So I shit for 12 hours straight. I mean, I got out of Sandy's car and went, where's the bathroom? Okay, here's your robe to put on. Where's the bathroom?
And then they put a camera in your...
Where's the bathroom? I need to go to the bathroom. And then she already put the IV in and I go, kind of still have to go to the bathroom. And she went, well, I can walk you there with the thing in your arm, the bag thing, if you need to. And I was like, how much longer? Because I'm sure they're going to clean it out. And she was like, yeah. You don't need to worry about it. If you can wait 5 minutes, you'll be under. And I was like, okay, let's hope. Because it was dicey. It was dicey. At a certain point, there was it's coming out, like it or not. Like it or not. It's just, but, so we could tell them that and then watch them. Could you imagine? But that's not women specific. So
no, so we didn't go into that.
Didn't go into that. Then we might have lost them forever. Could you imagine?
I can just imagine them in college, talk. They're all hanging out in the dorms. Oh, I was a Girl Scout. I remember Girl Scouts. It's Girl Scout cookie season. They're all eating their Girl Scout cookies. Oh, were you a Girl Scout? Oh yeah, I was a Girl Scout. Oh my God, our leaders told us about pap smears and yeast infections.
And thank God, because I knew what it was.
Everyone else is like, what? We didn't do a badge on that.
It's this badge with stirrups on it. It's just 2 stirrups. No body, just the 2 stirrups. Could you imagine? Maybe we should do that as a make your own badge.
Oh my God.
Just a yeast packet.
That's just wrong.
We could each give them a packet of yeast and say,
now
just
I'm
pin it on your wrist. But you gotta keep it light. You gotta keep it light. Well, thanks for talking about it. So now I don't have anything to talk to you about.
Ever again.
I mean, I'm all out. It's just book club. That's it. We better
come up with something good for the next 4 years then.
I know, right?
We're in trouble.
Oh, we'll do something else scandalous in Girl Scouts, I'm sure. That won't be the last.
Yeah, give us time.
Give us a little time. Yeah. A little time. Well, it's a pleasure to see you guys every time. I feel like this is the only time I get to see you. I see you more than I see you, but I never get to see you. I wish we had more time to just go to lunch. You know, I feel like if we didn't do this, we didn't see each other at all, except Girl Scouts. And then we're just in and out. So thanks for reading the book. I'm looking forward to the Nickel Boys. That's going to be a good read, I think.
Yeah.
6 hours, we can do that. See you next week for that one. Just kidding.
No pressure. No pressure.
No pressure. But next week, and then think about any other genres you're interested in. That's historical fiction, but we're kind of down to the end, and then we can just read whatever, right?
I don't know if that's better or worse, though. We have just as much trouble when it's just whatever. I mean, maybe we can look at some of the recommendations.
I think we should look in some of the recommendations. I think I need an executive.
I wouldn't mind an autobiography. I feel like I haven't read one of those in a while. Although, I mean,
read one in a long time.
Miss Pat, but that was a while ago.
Yeah, but
I don't know. That's really an
memoir.
yeah.
Right.
It was, more memoir-ish, even though it was called, isn't it called The Autobiography of Miss Pat?
Yeah.
But it was very memoir-esque.
Yes. You know, the problem with autobiography is that they're often very, very long. So
Yes, they are.
we'll just have to
Okay, good
hunker
point.
down. No, we'll just have
Or
to
find one that's maybe not as long.
Yeah. Or find at a time that seems like a reasonable time to hunker down.
We
with a long
dowie.
one.
We'll have plenty of time to read.
Shit. Now we'll be working on natural dye and learning to crochet. And
Yeah.
my dad is so funny. They have done so much work at that house in preparation for these girls because it's work they've wanted to do and have had no like deadline, no reason, no push. So they're doing all this work, and he's asked all their neighbors to borrow kayaks. So he has like 8, but he said, my goal is to get 13. So if there's 13 girls, wouldn't it be amazing to just stand on that dock and see 13 kayaks out in the lake, just jabbering and talking and
Has
paddling
Papa
around,
J been a Girl
lost.
Scout leader for 10 years now?
I know, right?
Seriously.
He's
that's-
pretty adorable. He's so excited. And my Aunt Carol keeps posting about it on her Facebook. So we're getting ready for these 13 girls from LA to come and to lake. So we're doing this work at the lake to get ready for these 13 girls. She keeps saying 13 girls,
God.
13 girls. So
That's
it's
awesome.
nice to see that they're so excited. I have such a good family. I'm so grateful for that whole side of my family. Everybody in that family is like that. Everybody. They're just like, yeah, come on. My cousin reached out to see just when we were coming. He had no idea about Girl Scouts. And I told him we're bringing the Girl Scouts. He's like, oh, you want to put them in the river and float the river? And I was like, that might be in the high risk activity of Girl Scouts that may not qualify. And I'm not sure you'd be allowed to carry a gun. So maybe we'll wait on that one. And I'll just go with my
press
family.
pause,
Yeah, no,
but-
right. I can see him show up with his gun on his belt and our entire troop go like,
Is that real?
and then Tex go home. Well, we floated the river with a shirtless man wearing a gun on his belt. And they're like, I'm coming home right now. It's over.
We haven't been fired from Girl Scouts before that. We definitely would be fired.
For the pap smear talk. That may be the final straw.
It may be coming.
Anyway, well, thank you guys for coming. And until next time.
Until next time.
Until next time.